Greetings. This is Brother Eli. Welcome to Bible Truth Revealed. This channel is dedicated to exposing the lies of Christianity and revealing biblical truth. On this channel, we worship and serve the Most High God of Israel only. This teaching is entitled An Open Rebuke to the Jehovah's Witnesses. That is, an open rebuke to the Jehovah's Witnesses. Before I came into the understanding of serving the Most High only and keeping His commandments, I studied with the Jehovah's Witnesses for a few years. Therefore, when I rebuke them in this teaching, I know exactly what I am talking about. Ecclesiasticus chapter 11 verse 7, which is Sirach in the Apocrypha, explains that we must take the time to examine and understand a matter before we rebuke those who are in the wrong. This is exactly what I have done. I will be reading from the Brenton Septuagint translation. Ecclesiasticus chapter 11 verse 7 is found in Sirach in the Apocrypha, and it says, "Blame not before thou hast examined the truth. Understand first, and then rebuke." I have taken the time to examine the truth about the Jehovah's Witnesses. I understand the truth about the Jehovah's Witnesses, so now I can rebuke the Jehovah's Witnesses. I am not going to talk about the dozens of false predictions made by the Jehovah's Witnesses since their very beginning. This is because it is a well-known fact that Jehovah's Witnesses have a long history of issuing false prophecies and then lying to cover them up. I am also not going to speak about how the Jehovah's Witnesses have historically discriminated against men with beards, even though the Most High requires Israelite men to grow our beards. I will focus on demonstrating that the people known as the Jehovah's Witnesses have nothing to do with the Most High, who is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They are a paedophile-protecting doomsday cult that disregards the commandments of the Most High and label Him with the worthless name Jehovah. The governing body, which is the group of men that rule the organization, has convinced their members that the only way they can be saved from Armageddon or worldwide destruction is by being part of the Jehovah's Witnesses organization. This is why the Jehovah's Witnesses go from door to door handing out their literature and warning others of impending doom. I will read a few quotes from the Watchtower magazines so we can see that Jehovah's Witnesses are convinced that the only way to be saved is by being part of their organization. Quote 1 comes from page 19 of the Watchtower of September 1st, 1989. It says, "Only Jehovah's Witnesses, those of the anointed remnant and the great crowd, as a united organization under the protection of the supreme organizer, have any scriptural hope of surviving the impending end of this doomed system dominated by Satan the devil." Again, only Jehovah's Witnesses, as a united organization, have any hope of surviving the impending end of this doomed system. That means only Jehovah's Witnesses can be saved. Quote 2 comes from page 22 of the Watchtower from September 15th, 1993. It says, "If we were to draw away from Jehovah's organization, there would be no place else to go for salvation and true joy." Again, Jehovah's Witnesses believe that if they were to leave the organization, there's no other place they can go to for salvation. So the only way to be saved, according to the governing body of the Jehovah's Witnesses organization, is to be part of that organization. Quote 3 is from page 14 of the Watchtower of December 15th, 2007. It says, "Jehovah's servants already belong to the only organization that will survive the end of this wicked system of things." This confirms that according to the Jehovah's Witnesses, you must belong to their organization in order to be saved. Yet this blatant lie is nowhere to be found in the Holy Scriptures. In the New World Encyclopedia, under the heading Jehovah's Witnesses, quote 1 says, "According to the beliefs of the Jehovah's Witnesses, their origins can be traced back to the ancient Israelites." So the Jehovah's Witnesses believe that their origin is the ancient Israelites. This is a bold-faced lie. The so-called Jehovah's Witnesses have absolutely nothing to do with the ancient Israelites. By claiming otherwise, the Jehovah's Witnesses are bearing false witness. Quote 2 says, "Jehovah's Witnesses view God as the creator of the universe and the supreme being within it. Witnesses believe that the proper name of this being is Jehovah, a derivative of the Tetragrammaton, and that its use is a requirement for true worship." Again, Jehovah's Witnesses believe that the proper name of the supreme being or creator of the universe is Jehovah, and the use of this name is a requirement for true worship. If using the name Jehovah is a requirement for true worship, this means that we cannot truly worship the creator of the universe without calling him by the name Jehovah. Let's learn about the name Jehovah so I can further demonstrate that the Jehovah's Witnesses are bearing false witness against the Creator. In the Encyclopedia Britannica, under the heading Jehovah, it says this: Jehovah, artificial Latinized rendering of the name of the God of Israel. Let's closely examine these terms so we can better understand this quote. In the Merriam-Webster dictionary, synonyms of the word artificial are bogus, fake, false, phony, and spurious. And the definition of the word Latinized is to exhibit the influence of the Romans or of the Roman Catholic Church. So as we can see, Jehovah is a bogus, fake, false, phony, and spurious name that exhibits the influence of the Roman Catholic Church In short, the name Jehovah is worthless. As a point of interest, I will read from the Jehovah's Witnesses Bible, which they refer to as the New World Translation of the Holy Scriptures. Exodus chapter 20, verse 7. Exodus chapter 20, verse 7 in the New World Translation says, "You must not take up the name of Jehovah your God in a worthless way, for Jehovah will not leave unpunished the one who takes up his name in a worthless way." The Jehovah's Witnesses label the Most High with a worthless name, which is fake, false, phony, spurious, useless, while claiming he would punish anyone who uses his name in a worthless way. Make it make sense. Jehovah has never been, is not, and will never be the name of the Most High, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. For a thorough treatment of this subject, please listen to my teaching entitled, "Do we really know the name of God?" That is, do we really know the name of God? Now that we know that the Jehovah's Witnesses are false witnesses who promote a bogus, fake, false, phony, and spurious name that exhibits the influence of the Roman Catholic Church, let's discover the identity of the true witnesses who were chosen by the Most High Himself. We can find this in Isaiah chapter 43, verse 1 and verse 10. Isaiah chapter 43, verses 1 and 10 in the Brenton Septuagint translation reads thus, "And now, thus says the Most High that made thee, O Jacob, and formed thee, O Israel, fear not, for I have redeemed thee. I have called thee by thy name, thou art mine." The name is Jacob or Israel, also known as the Israelites or the children of Israel. Let's hear what the Most High says to the Israelites in verse 10. "Be ye my witnesses." Again, "Be ye, children of Israel, my witnesses, and I too am a witness, saith the Most High, and my servant whom I have chosen." So we are the servant of the Most High, that ye may know and believe and understand that I am He. Before me there was no other God, and after me there shall be none. The true witnesses of the Most High are the children of Israel. This confirms that the Jehovah's Witnesses are false witnesses who have absolutely nothing to do with the Most High or with the ancient Israelites. In the New World Encyclopedia, under the heading Jehovah's Witnesses, Quote 3 says this: "Witnesses believe that only Jesus, JC, is their leader, and that he is the head of their congregation. As such, their leaders must obey him." All the Jehovah's Witnesses claim to follow the Most High. Their only leader is Jesus, the false god and idol of our Christian slave masters. Jehovah's Witnesses must obey the Christian idol, even when he contradicts the Most High. This is because their loyalty is to Jesus, although they give lip service to the Most High. We can easily prove this fact by considering an example where the Most High said one thing and the Christian idol said the opposite. So let's consider an example so I can demonstrate that the Jehovah's Witnesses obey the Christian idol and disregard the clear commandments of the Most High. Exodus chapter 31, verses 12 to 13 and 16 to 17. Exodus chapter 31, verses 12 to 13 and 16 to 17 reads thus. And the Most High spoke to Moses, saying, Do thou also charge the children of Israel, so these are his witnesses, saying, Take heed and keep my Sabbaths, the witnesses of the Most High, which are the children of Israel, have been charged to take heed. That means listen up and keep my Sabbaths. For they, that's the Sabbaths, are a sign with me and among you throughout your generations, that ye, my witnesses, may know that I am the Most High that sanctifies you. The Sabbaths are a sign with the Most High and the children of Israel. The witnesses of the Most High keep his Sabbaths. If you do not keep the Sabbath the holy, you are not a witness, because the Most High said that the Sabbaths are a sign between him and his witnesses, the children of Israel, throughout our generations. Throughout our generations means as long as the children of Israel continue to exist, and we exist today, the Sabbaths are a sign between us and the Most High. This is the proof that we are not the Jehovah's Witnesses, are the true witnesses of the Most High. Verse 16. And the children of Israel, that's the true witnesses, shall keep the Sabbaths, to observe them throughout their generations. It is a perpetual covenant with me and the children of Israel. It is a perpetual sign with me. For in 6 days the Most High made the heaven and the earth, and on the 7th day he ceased and rested. What is the meaning of the word perpetual? The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines the word perpetual as A. Continuing forever, everlasting, and B. Valid for all time. This means that the covenant that the Most High made with the children of Israel continues forever, is everlasting, and valid for all time. The Sabbath is a perpetual covenant. It never ends. It is a perpetual sign between the Most High and his true witnesses. The Jehovah's Witnesses do not have this sign, and this is how we know that they are false witnesses. They are not the true witnesses of the Most High. The reason the Jehovah's Witnesses do not have this sign is because their only leader is Jesus, the false golden idol of our Christian slave masters, and he taught his followers to break the commandments of the Most High. We can find evidence of this in John chapter 5, verses 16 to 18. John chapter 5 verses 16 to 18, and I will be reading from the King James Version of the Christian Bible. It says, "And therefore did the Jews persecute Jesus and sought to slay him, because he had done these things on the Sabbath day." He had done these things on the Sabbath day. According to this account in the so-called New Testament, Jesus had done things on the Sabbath day that were worthy of death. He worked on the Sabbath day, even though the Most High commanded that we do no work on the Sabbath day. Verse 17. "But Jesus answered them, My Father worketh hitherto, and I work." In other words, I can do what the hell I want to do. I work on the Sabbath day, and while we're at it, the Most High is working as well. This is blasphemy. The Most High does not work on the Sabbath day, and he commanded his people not to work on the Sabbath day. But the children of Lucifer, who are the authors of the so-called New Testament, wrote this nonsense to lead the children of Israel, one, into idolatry, and two, to rebel against the laws of the Most High. Verse 18, "Therefore the Jews sought the more to kill him, because he not only had broken the Sabbath, had broken the Sabbath, but said also that God was his Father, making himself equal with God." So the so-called New Testament confirms that this fictional character, according to this fairy tale, had broken the Sabbath, and he accused the Most High of also breaking the Sabbath. When I was a Christian and the Most High started revealing to me the truth about the Sabbath day, I discussed this with a Jehovah's Witness. He took me to John chapter 5 verses 16 to 18 and carefully explained that Christians do not keep the Sabbath day holy because Jesus taught them to break it. After that, I never studied with the Jehovah's Witnesses again. All praises to the Most High for using them to expose the wickedness of Christianity. At this point, someone will claim that this was the personal opinion of one Jehovah's Witness. So allow me to prove that this is not the case. Rather, this is the doctrine of the Jehovah's Witnesses as a whole. On www.jw.org, which is the official website of the Jehovah's Witnesses, there is an article entitled, "Must Christians Keep the Sabbath?" And this is what it says. Christians are not required to observe a weekly Sabbath. Again, Christians are not required to observe a weekly Sabbath. We just read a moment ago that the Most High requires the children of Israel, who are his true witnesses, to keep the Sabbath day holy. Now we are hearing from the Jehovah's Witnesses publication that they are not required to observe a weekly Sabbath. This confirms that they are not the true witnesses of the Most High. It continues, Christians are under the quote-unquote law of Christ, which does not include keeping the Sabbath. As we can see, Jehovah's Witnesses obey the Christian idol rather than the Most High. They reject the plain words of the Most High and choose to break the Sabbath day just like their false god and idol taught them to. This makes it clear that they are not the true witnesses of the Most High. In fact, it was my last conversation with that Jehovah's wickedness that inspired my teaching entitled, Why Did Jesus Sin? That is, why did Jesus sin? Speaking of sin, many of the leaders in the Jehovah's Witnesses organization are guilty of a particular secret sin. Here is a video clip about the secret sin.
It's an investigation into child sexual abuse among Jehovah's Witnesses and accusations that religious leaders led a cover-up within some of the group's 14,000 U.S. congregations. Our colleagues from the Center for Investigative Reporting obtained confidential memos shedding new light on the revelations.
The instructions were you keep these pedophiles secret.
The case hinges on letters from Jehovah's Witness leaders to the heads of local congregations. For almost 20 years, they've ordered them to send reports, like this one, for every known child abuser, to hide these cases from their congregations, and not to cooperate with law enforcement or the courts unless instructed to. They've refused judges' orders to turn over these abuse reports. Despite the huge verdict against the Watchtower, the organization is sticking to its policies. In fact, it just released another confidential memo reminding elders to keep quiet about child abuse.
There are hundreds of articles and videos about this shameful issue, so you can continue to research it for yourself. Just Google the Royal Commission of 2015 Report into Jehovah's Witnesses organizations and prepare to be disgusted. Child sexual abuse is common in all Christian organizations because they are demonic in nature. No matter how they try to distinguish themselves from one another, the one thing that connects all Christian denominations is that they are all led by a demonic spirit. This is why there are millions of reports of innocent children being sexually abused in Christian organizations. To learn about the demonic spirit that is over all of Christianity, please listen to my teaching entitled, The Spirit of Christ is Demonic. That is, the Spirit of Christ is demonic. In conclusion, the Jehovah's Witnesses organization is a dangerous doomsday cult that must be avoided by the children of Israel. The Most High has made it clear that we, not them, are his true witnesses. Also, we know for a fact that his name is not Jehovah. You cannot claim to love the Most High while clinging to a paedophile-protecting doomsday cult. The time has come to repent. Leave the Jehovah's Witnesses. Return to the Most High only and keep his commandments. And with that, I say, Salam.